What's going on, everyone? This is Jay from Premier Gaming Entertainment, and I'm here to bring to you my takeaways and analysis video for this week's game versus Ohio State. You know, it's been a long time coming. For the last few years, unfortunately, I've always been making a video talking about, why we lost and, let's look forward to next year and anything like that. And always disappointment. But this year, I had a feeling that things were just different. I've made mention to this in other videos that I felt as though this team was just different. There was just a different atmosphere from the program in general. And I just felt that this team this year was just different from previous years. There's games that they pulled out that in previous years I felt as though we just wouldn't have won those games. So that gave me the confidence to feel as though we had a chance to win this game. Everybody was talking about how it was impossible, we're going to lose, all that stuff. And, from my predictions video, I gave a game plan of how I thought we had a chance of winning the game. Now, before I get into that and get into my analysis of the game itself, let me know how you felt about the game in the comment section below. Do you feel as though, how do you feel about the victory? Let's just go there. Are you happy that we won? Are you celebrating? What are you doing because we won? Let me know how you feel about the game in general in the comment section below. So, one thing that has always amazed me, and I haven't really made mention of it, but I might as well in this video. You can never go from what a team has done in a previous week to say that that's exactly what's going to happen in the following week. Especially in a game like this where you're going against your bitter rival. There's no way to know. I mean, at the time of me recording this, I got home late, unfortunately, but Alabama just beat Auburn in like quadruple overtime or something like that. Now, because of it's the Iron Bowl and stuff like that, you throw certain things out the window. And on top of that, especially, a lot of people are saying, well, Ohio State crushed Michigan State, so they're going to crush Michigan because Michigan lost to Michigan State. And it doesn't work that way. There were certain things that were in Ohio State's favor as a team that, worked against Michigan State. Ohio State's main bread and butter was Michigan State's primary weakness. So you could just tell from the matchup of that it was going to be ugly. So you can't say that, because Ohio State did that to Michigan State, that automatically they're going to do that to Michigan. It just doesn't work out that way. So when I see people making those comments, it's just crazy to me because it doesn't add up that way. Michigan's defense, pass defense, is much better, much better than Michigan State's. I remember watching a game against Michigan State and watching, guys wide open, guys 10, 15 yards behind the defense. Like, that stuff will get you beat every single time. Plus, Michigan State made a lot of errors, made a lot of mistakes, and it cost them. And Michigan, on the other hand, had the one mistake that Cade made, throwing into triple coverage, when we were about to score. Other than that, I mean, we only punted twice. No field goals. The red zone, I feel as though I got to give Gaddis props and give him credit where credit is due. The last couple of weeks, he's really stepped it up as far as the stuff in the red zone. He did stuff that I've never even seen us do for a whole entire year for this game. So I guess this is one of those instances where they actually saved stuff for this game. I always hear about that in previous years. Oh, we're not doing anything. We're just saving it for the game. And then when it gets to the game, you don't see anything new other than the stuff we already ran. This time it looks like they actually did do that, which leaves me scratching my head. It's like, I swear as though this is the best prepared I've seen Michigan for this game. And it makes you wonder what they've been doing the past, well, I can't say 6 because we didn't play last year, but the last 5 years, or 5 games that we played against these guys, what did we do to prepare for them? It's only this year that there was an emphasis on this. And it really showed with the way that we played in this game. Up until this point, we treated it as though it was just another game. And I don't know why we did that. It's almost like an arrogance. Well, these guys in Ohio State were taking it seriously. We weren't taking it seriously. And that's why we keep losing. So this year, we decided we're going to make an emphasis on this game and prepare for this game. And look what happened. This needs to be something that happens every year. So I'm also going to give credit where credit is due to Harbaugh. He got this win, signature win, the win that he had to get. At the beginning of the year, there was a lot of doubts about him being able to get over the hump. He took a huge pay cut instead of base salary. And, other than that Michigan State game, which we should have won, man, you're looking at us being 12-0. Who would have thought that coming into this season? Winning in Wisconsin, winning at Penn State, beating Ohio State. No one would have thought that at the beginning of this year. People were talking us being 6-6 or 7-5. Now we're Big Ten champions, or at least Big Ten East champions, I should say. We're going to be going to the Big Ten. We're going to Indianapolis for the first time, and I think I'd have to check the box score, but it looks like we're going to actually be playing Iowa because Wisconsin choked their game against Minnesota. So we have a good chance, of winning that game and getting into the college football playoffs. All we have to do is just win that one game. So, like I said, I'm giving props to Harbaugh. To me, he's coach of the year. He turned around a 2-4 team that probably last year, if we played Ohio State, they would have dropped 100 on us. But this year, he's completely turned the program around. So I got to give credit where credit is due. So, anyways, on to the actual analysis of the game. From my predictions video, I gave a blueprint of how I felt that how we'd be able to beat Ohio State. And for the most part, this is actually what they did. I'm not sure. I missed the opening kickoff or the coin toss, if it was shown, because I was at work when the game was going on, so it was hard to be 100% watching the game. But so I don't know if Michigan won the toss and elected to take the ball, or if Ohio State won the toss and chose to defer. I'm not sure, but it worked in our favor for us to get the football first and drive right down the field and score. That set the tone for the whole entire game, to be honest with you. The game plan was really, really solid. Run the football, pass when needed, and, drain a lot of clock. So it was really important that we scored first, and the defense was, for the most part, bend but don't break. That's what happened when Ohio State got the football back, after the kickoff, drove the ball down the field, had to settle for a field goal. And, one of the keys to us winning this game, one of the biggest keys is we scored all touchdowns, and they had to settle for a couple field goals. So, I mean, that's key. You know, and not only that we forced them into field goals, we also forced them into a few punts. So they punted 4 times for the game. We punted only twice for the whole entire game, and we didn't allow them any huge plays. There were a couple, slightly intermediate plays, but no big 75 or 80-yard bomb over the top of the defense like they were doing against Michigan State. No plays where the guy is 10 yards behind the defense for a touchdown. Everything was contested. Everything was in front of us. And every single time that they scored, they had to work for it. They had 10, 12, plus 10 plus plays in order to score, which killed a lot of clock and shortened the game. Plus, we had that as well. So even though the score was high scoring, they still had to work for their points. And the pressure was there. It wasn't always there, but it was there enough that it made Stroud uncomfortable. Aiden was a beast once again with 3 sacks. Ajabo had 1. There was lots of times where I felt like he was getting held and they didn't call it. But there was times where he was held and they did call it, which negated some plays. And, it's not always about getting home, but if you can make, quarterback move in the pocket or throw in the run or have to check down or, pull the ball back and, go to a different read or a different progression, all of that is very important. You want to make him think. If he just drops back and just throws it all the time without really even having to think about it, then he's going to get comfortable, he's going to get in a rhythm, and we're in trouble. So I felt the defense played really, really well. I mean, he still got, I think just under 400 yards passing, but at the end of the day, he had to make a lot of attempts to get those yards. And if I'm not mistaken, actually the yards per attempt were higher for Michigan than they were for Ohio State, despite the amount of yards that they actually got in total for passing. It was key for us to get the lead first, and I thought it was even more important that even though it was a 1-point lead, it was really important for us to be leading at halftime. And typically speaking, in previous games against these guys, the second half, especially the third quarter, has always been where we've always got roasted and they've always blown us out or, and stuff like that. But this game, the third quarter was ours, scoring them 14-0. I thought that was the turning point of the game. Haskins was a beast once again. And, one thing that I will say from watching the game, I know a lot of people were saying how much improved Ohio State's defense was, especially the running defense. But in all honesty, I mean, I'm not trying to take a shot at them or anything like that, but I feel as though that was kind of the word I could say is it was a misconception that they'd actually improved the running game. It's just that they played teams that weren't really run heavy. And then the game against Michigan State, they were up so fast and so quickly that Michigan State just really couldn't get into any type of running game. So, it was really smoke and mirrors as far as their improvement in the running game. They played bad teams, and then they played teams that weren't necessarily good at running the football, and it made them look like they were an improved run-stopping team when really they weren't. And in this game, that got exposed. I mean, especially down the stretch of this game, uh, you know, the offensive line for Michigan just leaned on these guys, wore them out. Um, by the end of the game, they had just pretty much given up. They let them score to make it 42. Now, I mean, that's partially strategy, but it looked like they literally had just given up at the end. I could be wrong about that, but the defense looked like it was defeated. And, give credit where credit is due for Harbaugh sticking to and having an identity of running the football and sticking to it. It's not to say that we can't throw the football, because we did, and did it relatively well. We did enough throwing the football in order to get the victory. So this notion that you gotta throw it 50 million times to win is not necessarily true. I mean, you're looking at what is considered the best offense in the whole entire country, and we only threw the football about 20 times for the whole entire game and still put up 42 points and didn't score any points on extra, on special teams or on defense. So the formula is there to win, even playing this style of football. You just have to, obviously for this type of style, you have to be ahead and have a solid defense behind you, and that's what we have. And I know we've had we've had defenses that have been top 10 or best in the country and stuff like that, but the game planning for the defense this go around was so much better than in previous years with Don Brown. Mike McDonald did an A1 job as far as preparing for each and every game. The one blemish obviously was the Michigan State game, and that was a learning experience as far as substituting, and I think he's got over that hump. So, the game plan was definitely here to win this game. We were definitely prepared. Like I said, defense played very solid. I'm going to get into the grades in just a second. But on both sides of the football, very, very good, very solid. Offensive line for me is, to me, the best in the whole entire country. Now, one could argue and say this another team, but to me, in my opinion, I feel as though they're the best in the country. Games are won and lost in the trenches. They're won and lost with line play. I say it all the time, and I believe it. It's not pretty. It's not flashy. It's not it's not the thing that, sticks out or shows up in the stat sheets. But at the end of the day, that's how you win and lose games. That and, turning the football over and stuff like that. But if you can dominate on the line of scrimmage on both offense and defense, you have a good chance of winning every single game. And that's why Michigan has been in every single game and won every game except for the one that they lost at Michigan State. Their line play this year has been exceptional. So, let me get into the grading. I'm going to start on offense. So, segueing into that, the offensive line, I'm giving them an A+. I mean, there's what more can I say? Ran for almost 300 yards. So, we did an excellent job as far as opening up the holes and allowing us to, run the football. So it's not only was it just under 300 yards, but it was at 7.2 yards per carry. So obviously we did an excellent job in that area. No sacks, no QB hurries, anything like that. So I felt as though we did an amazing job on the offensive line. So definitely A+ for them. The running backs, obviously, I'm gonna give them an A+. Haskins was a beast. Corum, when he was in there, he did his thing. He had that one explosive run. Unfortunately, he ran out of gas. I would have liked to see him take that to the house. But overall, the running backs very, very good. So I'm giving them an A+. So obviously, he had an amazing game. Obviously, a career high. So, like I said, Corum, glad to have him back. You know, with him in there, with Haskins is like the bruiser guy. They'll wear you down, and once you get worn down, that's when you can stick Corum in there to just find that little crease and then just explode. So that's what happened in this game. So onto the wide receivers. Obviously they didn't have a whole lot of attempts, but when there was they made plays. They did what they had to do. So I'm going to give them a B. I mean, like I said, there wasn't a whole lot going around, so I'm going to give them a B. They did what they had to do. Made key catches, a few big plays and stuff like that. So I'm going to give them a B. Tight ends, not a whole lot in the receiving, but definitely very key in blocking. So I'm going to give them a B as far as that goes. And for quarterback, I'm going to give them a B+. I would give them an A, except for the fact that K threw that pick in the end zone, or I don't even know if it was actually in the end zone, but that pick into triple coverage, that was the only bad play, and so that to me negated them getting an A. So I'm going to give them a B+ for that. On defense now, for the defensive line, and give them an A. Solid as far as pressuring the quarterback, getting sacks, batting the ball down, limiting the run. Played just an exceptional game. Aiden, 3 sacks. Now with the team record. And, the sky is the limit for him. So I'm really excited about that. Played an exceptional game. Like I said, a lot of holds that weren't called, but it is what it is. Still was able to get enough pressure to make Stroud uncomfortable. So defensive line, definitely an A. Linebackers, also an A. Not anything glaring that was given up. They only ran for about 64 yards with 30 attempts, so that's like 2 yards a carry. So obviously the linebackers did their thing in limiting Ohio State's rushing game, which is very key. You knew that we were going to try to do our thing to stop them from passing, but if they were able to get the running game going and get 150, 200 yards, the outcome of this game would be much different. So I'm definitely giving them an A for their job. The secondary, I know that we gave up almost 400 yards, but I'm going to give them a B+. The yardage would seem kind of heavy, but they did their job as far as making Ohio State work. Not letting anything go over the top, not leaving them wide open, to a certain degree. Anything that they got was short or intermediate, and as soon as they made the catch, there wasn't any big yard after catch play or anything like that. The tackling for the most part was solid, and they were only able to get minimal gains once they made their reception. So I felt that the secondary did a good job of sticking to the game plan of not allowing anything easy. So no complaints there at all. The reception to the wide receiver Garrett Wilson, I mean, that was heavily contested. It was just a very, very good catch. But, like I said, nobody just streaking down the sidelines wide open or 15 yards behind the coverage or anything like that. Everything was kept in front of them. They had to work for everything. No complaints. Special teams, not really anything I can say, because nothing really happened. Only punted the ball twice. No field goals. No actual plays. Couple returns on punts that were decent. So we're just going to say a B. Not anything out of the ordinary, but nothing glaring or anything like that. So, I'm going to give them a B for that. All in all, I'm pumped up. I'm excited. But it's not over. As happy as I am that we got this victory, it's been a long time coming. It's not over with. We still have one more game left before we can even get into the playoffs. That's the goal of the season, to get into the playoffs and see what happens. So we're going to have another game next week. I'm going to check the box score, but I think it's going to be against Iowa. So we got to get that victory. If we do that, I feel as though we'll be... Right now, I feel as though when Tuesday comes, we're going to be ranked number 2. We should be. Why I say that? Because we should be able to leapfrog Cincinnati with beating Ohio State, which is the number 2 team in the country. And Alabama struggled to beat Auburn. So in my opinion, I feel as though that we should at least jump Cincinnati and be number 3, if not number 2. So we're going to see what happens with that. Like I said, I'm really ecstatic about this game. It's been a long time coming. I know a lot of people have been clowning Michigan football for a long time, saying we can't win the big one. We're automatically going to lose to Ohio State. Nobody believing us. I'm very interested to see what old Feinbaum has to say about this. He's been the biggest Michigan hater that I've ever seen in my life. So, and an even bigger Harbaugh hater. So it's going to be interesting to see how he actually feels about us getting this victory. So anyways, that's it for the video. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, definitely feel free to leave a like on the video. I really appreciate it. Let me know how you felt about the game in the comment section below. And if you like my content, definitely subscribe to the channel. And we'll see you next week when we have another video for the first time about my predictions about the Big Ten Championship game. Anyways, thank you for watching the video. And as always, go Blue.